At a national level, it's really easy to look at what's happening in politics and what's happening in business and get really discouraged. But as I travel across the country, the woman running the bakery, or the guy who wants to create a business for his dry rub, or two doctors that have started a technology company to help people manage diabetes, or a woman who realized that indigo, which dyes this coat, could be a crop that brings livelihoods to former tobacco farmers. These people, and these are people like Tony and Sarah and Lucy and Emily. These people all across the country are the ones who have the hope and the optimism and the energy. Entrepreneurs are not at the center of our conversation around capitalism today. It's the Dow Jones. We wonder about how the big companies are doing. Entrepreneurs are not at the center of our political discussion. They're an afterthought, and entrepreneurs are still persisting and growing. And we have a chance to design a way that capitalism can be driven by entrepreneurs at the center, and entrepreneurs can revitalize communities instead of communities waiting for the government to do something to help them, or asking, please, big company, will you drop a headquarters in my hometown? People move from, helpless supplicants to masters of their own destiny, and being able to turn helplessness into access and agency. Entrepreneurs are already doing it, and we can put some fuel on the fire. We need a new narrative for entrepreneurship. Most people who are starting businesses, when they hear the word entrepreneur, they don't think it applies to them. They think it applies to a guy who looks like me, who lives in a coastal city and probably has a latte and a laptop, or is trying to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. And that's an image that is not accessible to most people who are trying to build their dreams. Yet, most people who are living and working and building and dreaming and making in opportunity zones don't look like that image. And here we have a chance to reframe the narrative. We have a chance to say, a young African-American woman who has a vision for a food services company that could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but no one invested in her because she was in West Louisville, now has a potentially much larger pool of capital to draw from. I think that we can change the face of what entrepreneurship looks like by investing in people all across the country and creating 1,000 different data points that our country is much more dynamic than we might see. So today, our capital markets are completely broken. 1% of businesses raise venture capital. Yet if you look at Google or Facebook or Shark Tank, venture capital gets the lion's share of attention. We spent a lot of time thinking about microfinance and bank loans. 18% of businesses ever get a bank loan. We've been focused on two ends of the spectrum: high growth, high tech, small business lending. 81% of businesses are in the middle and never interact with a formal financial institution. We need to think what the future of what does a bank look like? What does an investment firm look like? Investment firms have not served entrepreneurs very well. Look at the global financial crisis to take a look at it. We've got a lot of national momentum and energy and creativity around how to create new vehicles, and thinking about what the 21st century economy looks like and designing the next generation bank or fund or other financial infrastructure is our opportunity. Our banking system was created for a goods economy. You have a physical asset, I give you a loan, you make something, that's your collateral. Today, 70% of businesses starting are services businesses, and even our banking infrastructure and plumbing doesn't match what's happening on Main Street every day. And so we need to make capital as a tool work for the people and ideas that are growing up, rather than have people beg for what capital says it wants. The firm I founded, Village Capital, in 2012, we launched a sustainable agriculture program with Access Ventures here in Louisville. And that actually has been, of all of our verticals, our most profitable investment, and most of these businesses are from rural areas. So we've got a company called Stony Creek Colors, and it was founded in northern Tennessee to try and figure out what can tobacco farms, Kentucky, Tennessee, have tens of thousands of farms that used to grow tobacco and now don't have income generating assets. Stony Creek figured out that indigo which goes into like this blue blazer, indigo is a high quality cash crop that has similar soil requirements to tobacco. We invested, we were the first investor, and they're one of these companies that's stuck in the middle. Banks thought they were too risky, venture capitalists thought they weren't high growth enough. Now they're a major supplier to companies like Levi's that are turning formaldehyde-based blue dye into natural indigo dye, and they've created jobs for tobacco farmers in rural Tennessee. They are in an opportunity zone. If you're inspired by that story, there are opportunities across rural America. The average family farmer's income has dropped 50% in just 5 years. Access to capital and finance and markets and supply chain is a big reason why. We need a massive investment in the infrastructure for rural entrepreneurship, and there are opportunity zones all across the country that can do it. We need to move quickly to propose a vision of what an inclusive opportunity zone investment strategy would look like. I am so excited by the idea of entrepreneurs driving and creating a vision for what the future of their communities can look like and getting the capital to do so. But absent us who care about this vision putting something forward, it will not happen. New market tax credits were created for a very similar purpose, to spur entrepreneurial development in overlooked parts of the country. Yet, if you look 20 years later, almost every new market tax credit fund that's been raised is a real estate fund. I talked to people who are involved in the creation and the development of the legislation, and they said the first few funds to market were all real estate funds, and most of the capital market tends to be a follower and not a leader. And they said there weren't any leaders at the beginning who were putting entrepreneurs at the center of the investment strategy, so no one adopted it. If people who care about entrepreneurs driving communities don't take intentional steps to put ideas out there, put playbooks out there, put pilot funds out there, the market will not put the entrepreneurs at the center of the conversation, and that's a once-in-a-generation missed opportunity. But I'm excited to work with great people all across the country to imagine and envision what it looks like to put entrepreneurs at the center of forming capital and communities, and try pilots, see what we learn, see what we're missing, see where we can grow.